when we designed and crafted the Nigerian industrial policy, which of course you'd have been told that it's actually the first industrial policy in decades. We were not just concerned with the excellence of the policy document, we were more concerned with how that policy was going to be implemented. Because no matter how brilliant the document turns out, unless it is implemented, it comes to nothing. A few weeks ago, the former Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Olusegun Aganga, shared, some document with me that talked about how many years back Nigeria, Morocco were the leaders of industrial growth in the continent, and how in 2025 the AFDB had said Morocco had even gone beyond South Africa, had overtaken South Africa, and how very badly Nigeria was performing industrially. And the main reason is that what Morocco did, Nigeria couldn't do or just paid lip service. Our hope is that with a new industrial policy and a commitment of the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to its full implementation, that we'll be able to turn this over. So it gives me great pleasure, therefore, to be able to be here this morning on the last day of this event. Of course, the theme of yesterday, Nigeria's industrial policy, implications for industrial development, for trade and for investment, couldn't have come, couldn't have been better. Again, you were told why I couldn't be here. Because of how much I considered it, I toyed with the idea of either my chief advisor, Professor Anoka, or my SA technical, strategy, to do that delivery. But I found out it was important to these organizers that I'm here in person. So the successful implementation of the NIP would depend not only on government, like I mentioned, but on the commitment, on the investment, and the leadership of employers, of manufacturers, of investors, and the organized private sector, that I find, before me. And the truth on and on is that government doesn't create prosperity alone. Business does. Employers create jobs. Manufacturers expand production. Investors take risk. Entrepreneurs identify opportunities where others see challenges. What government does is to create an environment where enterprise would grow, where investments can grow with confidence, and industries can compete successfully both at home and abroad. What I recognize is that Nigerian businesses continue to operate, of course, under a very challenging environment. And those challenges and the reasons they are myriad. From issues around infrastructure, access to finance, energy costs, logistics, foreign exchange volatility, regulatory uncertainty. All of this continue to affect productivity. All of this continue to affect competitiveness. And these are not abstract policy issues. They are the real constraints faced daily by employers that you represent. And I think that it's precisely because of the realities of this situation that the Nigerian industrial policy was launched, in February of this year. And I think that that policy remains government's long-term commitment to creating a competitive industrial economy, one that encourages local production, supports value addition, strengthens supply chains, attracts investment and creates quality jobs for Nigerians. I mean, if you look at our circumstances, and I oftentimes give this example. Sometime last year, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did a 6-month temporary ban on shea nut export. Why was that significant? I mean, more than 40% of the global shea nut production is held by Nigeria. Yet in terms of value addition, we don't control up to 1%. That's how sad it is. And you can go on and on mentioning the different products and commodities, that not just Nigeria, the sub-region and Africa, are. So it's, more importantly, we are determined that this policy will be judged not by the quality, like I said at the beginning, but by government's responsibility and government's attitude to its implementation. When we launched the policy, I was taken to task to make a commitment in terms of implementation. And there and then on that stage, I made a commitment that every 90 days, we're going to deliver or provide an implementation report. We said so. I'm glad that after the first 90 days, sometime last week or 2 weeks ago, we brought out an implementation report. Tall order, but I also find out that that commitment and our commitment to delivering it, puts us on the spot and makes us more and more, alive to having to get this policy implemented. And I think that, part of the things that we provided as having occurred in the last 90 days was the fact that, namely you have the African Development Bank, 380 million MSME, intervention, industrial cluster program, $380 million, that captures about 70-something industrial clusters across the country. And for me, and we've worked significantly to advance this, and it provides major opportunity to strengthen industrial clusters and improve productivity for Nigerian enterprises. Working with partners, made great progress in a proposed 350 billion, again, MSME Development Fund, MSMEs. And I'm sure majority of us, if not everyone, will understand why the focus is on them in terms of job provision, in terms of how much control of the economy that they have. Recognizing, for example, that industrial competitiveness depends on skilled people. We've worked alongside the ITF, the Nigerian Automotive Design and Development Council, to train over 650 Nigerians in mechatronics and artisanal skills, helping prepare our workforce for modern manufacturing. As we push for industrial growth, of course, the talents and the skills set will be very critical, to strengthen the competitiveness of Nigerian businesses under the African Continental Trade Area. 131 companies represent, that have within them more than 200 and something products or commodities have already been awarded the African quality marks, improving access in terms of the sub-regional and the regional market. We have also intensified collaboration with the Bureau of Public Procurement to promote greater patronage of Nigerian-made goods under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Nigeria First, policy, working with the BPP in terms of procurement, in terms of textile, CTG, in terms of, auto, the auto sector as well. In a program sometime last week in Arise, I had gone to that program, again, wearing a suit, and I was taken to task that how does this reflect and represent, made in Nigeria? And I said, we make a mistake. Imagine that everything about suit is foreign. That in terms of the Nigerian First policy, right, as long as you're wearing a suit that is sewn in Nigeria, you got tailors, you got a lot of people. And that until we're able to become self-sufficient in terms of our textiles, and we're working hard to achieve that. Some months back, I visited a cotton farm, somewhere in Ogun State. And we're continuing with that. Sometime at the middle of last year, I did a multi-city, tour of moribund textile facilities in Kaduna, in Lagos, and all of that. So by the time we achieve what the goals are in terms of textile production and all of that, then, you can begin to be more concentrated inwards. So, and I made reference, I told those who were in that program, I said after that program, if they walked with me to where I was going to take my official car, I'd drive a Nigerian assembled, car, assembled by Meccano. So we're working hard to make sure that this, continues to happen. The success of this journey, of course, is going to continue to depend on partnership. Government, like I've repeatedly said, will provide direction, but the private sector will provide the momentum that we need. I mean, government can develop policy, like we've developed the NIP. Businesses will have the responsibility to transform this policy into factories, into exports, into innovation, and into jobs. Which is why organizations like NECA, continue to remain invaluable and to remain indispensable. I mean, the feedback that we get from NECA strengthens our policies. Your investments strengthen our economy. Your confidence sends powerful signals to both local and to international investors that Nigeria remains a country of opportunity. And that's why I'm glad, to hear that there was the commitment of continuing support for government's reform agenda. Tough decisions, tough situation, but who said that you can get anything achieved, any less? And I think I always mention this example, that a few years ago, maybe about 2, in the United Kingdom, I mean, the Labour Party almost wiped out the Conservatives. But about 2 years after, what has happened? The man that won that mandate has resigned. So the circumstances that we face are not just akin to Nigeria alone, but the decisions that we take, government's reform agenda and reform approach, are the things that we need to do, and we need to remain consistent in them. So as we implement the Nigerian industrial policy, we'll continue to engage with the organized private sector, because, I mean, industrialization is a shared matter. It's a national project. We want businesses to invest with confidence, expand production with certainty, and compete with ambition. I mean, I therefore encourage everyone that is gathered here to see this moment as an opportunity to build stronger partnerships between government and industry. Let's continue to work together to remove barriers to growth, unlock new investment opportunities. The foundations are being laid by the present administration. The early signs are encouraging. And what are those early signs? The fact that, I mean, there's some stability of some sort. If you measure it in terms of exchange rate, yes, still high. But it's stability, it's business people can plan, in terms of what needs, to be done, in terms of significant business decisions. So on behalf of the ministry, for that Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, I mean, I congratulate NECA, for the idea of this and for staying the course, I mean, for being consistent. I mean, there is one thing to have a dream. It's a completely different thing to sustain that dream. What NECA is doing is sustaining that dream. It's elevating it, to a point in which the whole country continues to look up to this event. So I congratulate you. I mean, and today is the last day. I mean, I'm encouraged by the kind of productivity in terms of the discussions that you've had. And of course, we don't expect anything any less. So thank you, and God bless everyone.